Nari's crystalline skin reflected the harsh station lights like a living prism, casting rainbows across the metal walls of her cramped workshop. The other engineers kept their distance, as they always did. Fear was a constant companion, but loneliness was worse. "Pass me the neutron spanner," she said, her voice unnaturally melodic. The service drone complied where organic beings refused. She fixed the faulty power coupling with practiced movements. Her fingers, clear as diamond but flexible as flesh, worked quickly. The station needed this repair finished before the next shift. No one would thank her, but at least they wouldn't complain. The station announcement system crackled to life. "Attention all personnel. Earth Transport Vessel Horizon has docked. Welcoming Committee report to Bay 12. Nari continued working. No one invited her to welcoming committees. 3 hours later, she sensed someone watching. Standing in her doorway was a human man in Science Division blue. Unlike the others who passed her workshop, he didn't hurry by or avoid looking at her. "Hello," he said simply, stepping inside without invitation. "I'm Dr. Tejo Park. New xenobiology specialist." Nari set down her tools carefully. New humans were unpredictable. "Nari," she replied, her voice creating harmonics that made the tools on her bench vibrate slightly. Instead of wincing at the sound like most did, Dr. Park smiled. He approached her workbench without hesitation. "Your crystalline structure, remarkable," he said, studying her without flinching. "May I?" He gestured toward her arm. No one had willingly touched her in years. "It will feel cold to you," she warned. "I don't mind." His warm fingers touched her forearm. She felt his heat signature through her skin. He didn't pull away at the icy sensation. "Fascinating. You're a Kyra, aren't you? I've only read about your species." "You've read about us?" Nari was surprised. Most humans pretended her kind didn't exist. "Of course. Your biological adaptation to extreme radiation environments is unparalleled." For the first time in months, Nari found herself talking freely. Dr. Park asked questions no one had bothered to ask before. How her crystalline structure formed. Whether it was natural or engineered. How she processed energy. Their conversation was interrupted by the station alert system. "Emergency in Power Section 4. All non-essential personnel evacuate immediately." Nari's senses immediately detected the radiation spike. The core was destabilizing. "That's bad," she said, already moving toward the door. "Very bad." Dr. Park followed her. "What's happening?" "The fusion core is leaking radiation. If it's not contained, everyone on this station will die." They raced through corridors filling with panicked crew members running the opposite direction. When they reached Power Section 4, emergency barriers were already in place. "We can't go in there," a technician shouted. "Radiation levels are lethal." "Not for me," Nari said. The technician recognized her and stepped back in fear. "The monster." Dr. Park stepped between them. "She's a Kyra. Her body absorbs radiation." "Let me help," Nari said to the lead engineer who was frantically working at the control panel. The woman looked desperate. "The containment field is failing. We can't shut it down remotely." "I can absorb the excess energy and stabilize it," Nari explained. "Let me through." The engineer hesitated, then nodded. "We have no choice." The emergency door slid open. Inside, 3 technicians were trapped, huddled behind makeshift shielding. The core glowed dangerously bright, alarms blaring. Nari walked straight toward it. She began to glow as her body absorbed the deadly radiation. The crystalline patterns on her skin brightened, storing the energy safely within her structure. "Get those people out," Dr. Park ordered from the doorway. As the technicians ran for safety, one stumbled against Nari. He screamed as his skin contacted hers. Her surface temperature had risen dramatically as she processed the radiation. 2 more technicians suffered burns trying to help their colleague. Finally, Nari reached the core controls. Her fingers, now glowing white-hot, moved across the panel, shutting down the reaction. When it was over, the station was safe, but 3 injured technicians were rushed to medical. The emergency council convened an hour later. Station Commander Jisoo stood at the head of the table, her face stern. 3 crew members injured, she said coldly. This incident demonstrates why having a Kyra aboard is too dangerous. She saved us all, Dr. Park countered, standing alone. Without her, everyone on this station would be dead. Her skin temperature reached 300 degrees, the commander replied. She's a walking hazard. Only because she absorbed radiation that would have killed everyone else, Dr. Park insisted. She sacrificed her own safety. The council members whispered among themselves. Nari stood silently at the back of the room, her skin still faintly glowing. The council will deliberate, Commander Jisoo announced. Until then, the Kyra is confined to quarters. As Nari was escorted out, Dr. Park caught her eye and nodded. For the first time since arriving on the station, she didn't feel completely alone. The council ruled that Nari could stay on the station, but with restrictions. She had to wear dampening bands on her wrists and submit to daily scans. Most crew members still avoided her. But not Dr. Taeho Park. Taeho visited Nari's workshop every day after his shift. He brought scanners and recording equipment. Nari allowed him to study her biology, curious about his interest. Most humans fear what I am, she said one day as he measured the light refraction through her forearm. I prefer understanding to fear, Taeho replied. He looked up from his scanner. May I ask how many Kyra remain? Nari's glow dimmed slightly. Few. Perhaps 1,000 across the galaxy. We were once millions. What happened? War. Fear. The usual reasons species destroy each other. She touched a crystal formation on her neck. Our ability to absorb energy made others see us as weapons, not people. The next day, Taeho brought his meal to her workshop. He ate synthesized protein while she consumed pure electrical current from a power cell. The energy made her skin sparkle. How does it taste? He asked, watching the electricity flow into her fingertips. Nari considered this. Taste is not the right word. It feels refreshing. Like how I imagine water feels to you. They shared meals often after that. Taeho told her about Earth, about forests and oceans. Nari described her home world with its radiation storms that painted the sky in colors humans couldn't see. Our children would play in the storms, she said. Absorbing the energy, growing stronger. It was beautiful. For 6 weeks, they worked together. Taeho's research expanded. He learned that Nari could control her skin temperature, that she could see energy fields invisible to humans, that she could go months without absorbing new energy if needed. Then the asteroid storm hit without warning. The Space Rocks damaged the station's communication array. Without it, they couldn't call for help or warn approaching ships. The array needs manual repairs, the chief engineer announced at the emergency meeting. But the radiation from the asteroid field is too high for our suits. All eyes turned to Nari. I can withstand the radiation, she said. I will fix it. The chief engineer nodded reluctantly. The repair requires 2 people. One to recalibrate the dish, one to replace the damaged components. The room fell silent. No one volunteered to work with the Kyra. I'll go with her, Taeho said, standing up. The chief engineer shook his head. You're not trained for spacewalks, Doctor. Then train me. Quickly. After a rushed training session, Taeho and Nari prepared for the spacewalk. The technicians kept their distance as they helped Nari into her specialized suit. It wasn't for protection, she needed none, but for carrying tools and communicating. You don't have to do this, she told Taeho as he struggled with his helmet seal. I know, he replied. They exited through the airlock. The stars spread out before them, beautiful and deadly. The asteroid field glittered in the distance, still sending waves of radiation toward the station. They made their way along the station's hull, secured by magnetic boots. The communication array extended above them like a giant metal flower. The radiation is stronger than predicted, Nari said, her sensors more accurate than the station's equipment. But I can handle it. They began the repairs. Nari held the heavy dish in position while Tejo replaced the damaged circuits. His hands moved quickly despite the bulky gloves. They were nearly finished when the alarm in Tejo's suit blared. Solar flare incoming, the station controller's voice crackled through their comms. Get back inside immediately. The bright wave of energy was already visible, rushing toward them. We won't make it to the airlock, Tejo said, calculating the distance. Nari made a quick decision. Get behind me. As the solar flare hit, she positioned herself between Tejo and the deadly radiation. Her body began to absorb the massive energy surge. Her crystalline skin glowed brighter and brighter until Tejo had to look away. The temperature in her suit rose dramatically. Warning lights flashed across her display. She was absorbing too much, too quickly. A section of Tejo's tether came loose in the solar wind. He began to drift away from the station. Nari reached for him, extending her arm to its limit. Her glove had melted away from the heat of her skin. Take my hand, she called. Tejo looked at her bare crystalline hand, now glowing white-hot from the absorbed radiation. Without hesitation, he grabbed it. Pain shot through his arm as her superheated skin burned through his glove. But he held on as she pulled him back to the station and secured his tether. They completed the repairs and made it back to the airlock just as Nari reached her absorption limit. In the medical bay, Tejo sat quietly as the doctor treated his severely burned palm. Nari stood in the doorway, her skin still faintly glowing as her body processed the excess energy. Why did you take my hand? She asked. You knew it would burn you. Tejo looked up at her, his eyes tired but kind. Because everyone deserves a hand to hold, he answered simply. Even when it hurts. For the first time since arriving on the station, Nari felt something new inside her crystalline chest. Something warm that had nothing to do with absorbed energy. The station alarm blared at 0300 hours, jolting everyone from sleep. Nari needed no alarm. She felt the massive energy signature of the warship before the sensors detected it. The Derek battlecruiser appeared without warning, dropping out of hyperspace just 500 kilometers from the station. The massive vessel dwarfed the research outpost, its weapon systems already powered up. All senior staff to the command center, Commander Jisu's voice echoed through the station. This is not a drill. Nari left her quarters, ignoring the restriction orders. She knew this was about her. The Derek were known hunters of rare species. When she reached the command center, the view screen showed the battlecruiser. Its distinctive red hull was covered in weapon ports. The station's shields would hold for minutes, not hours. They're hailing us, the communications officer said. Commander Jisu nodded. Put them through. The screen changed to show a Derek commander. His gray skin was marked with red tattoos showing his military rank. Attention human station, the Derek said. We know you harbor a Kyra female. Surrender her immediately or be destroyed. What do you want with her? Commander Jisu asked, though everyone knew the answer. Her energy absorption capabilities will perfect our weapons, the Derek commander stated. You have 1 hour to comply. The screen went black. The station leadership convened in panic. 12 senior officers sat around the table, arguing loudly. We can't fight a battlecruiser, the tactical officer said. Our weapons are for asteroid defense, not war. Security Chief Miho slammed his fist on the table. One alien life isn't worth hundreds of ours. I say we hand her over. Several officers nodded in agreement. The Derek are weapons dealers, another officer added. They'll leave once they have what they want. Tejo, invited as the station's xenobiologist, listened quietly. When the arguments died down, he stood. What we decide defines us, he said. If we surrender someone under our protection, what does that make us? It makes us survivors, Chief Miho answered. It makes us cowards, Teiho countered. The Kyra are nearly extinct because of this exact thinking. Everyone decides their lives are worth less. That's not our problem, Miho said. The doors slid open, and Nari entered the room. Several officers flinched as her glowing form approached the table. I will go, she said simply. No more deaths because of me. Teiho moved to her side. No. It's my choice, she said. I have another plan, Teiho said, looking at Commander Jisoo. One that might save everyone. What plan? Jisoo asked. The station's power core, Teiho explained. Nari can interface with it directly. She could channel enough energy to boost our shields beyond anything the Derek expect. That's impossible, the chief engineer said. The human interface can't handle that much power. Not a human interface, Teiho said. Nari can become the interface. The room fell silent. Is this possible? Commander Jisoo asked Nari. Yes, Nari answered. But dangerous. I've never channeled that much energy. You could lose control, Teiho admitted. But I trust you. Commander Jisoo looked at the viewscreen showing the looming Derek vessel. How long would our shields hold? Long enough to call for help, Teiho said. A Federation cruiser is 2 hours away. After much debate, the plan was approved. Nari and Teiho headed to the power core while the others prepared for possible battle. Thank you for trusting me, Nari said as they walked. I've seen what you can do, Teiho replied. And who you are. They reached the power room and began preparations. Engineers helped connect special cables to the core's main controls. We'll need 20 minutes, the chief engineer told them. I'll inform the commander. As they worked, Teiho noticed Deputy Commander Siho watching from the doorway. The man's eyes followed Nari with unusual interest. After the engineers left to prepare other systems, Nari and Teiho ran final checks on the connections. The interface is ready, Nari said. I just need to. The door slid shut with a loud clang. They turned to see Deputy Commander Seho standing there, holding a stun weapon. Step away from the Kyra, Soho ordered, aiming at Teiho. What are you doing? Teiho asked, moving to protect Nari. Making a smart business decision, Soho replied. His finger tightened on the trigger. The Derek are offering personal rewards. Enough credits to buy my own planet. You can't do this, Teiho said. You're betraying everyone on this station. I'm saving them, Soho countered. The Derek will leave once they have her. Until they want something else, Teiho said. Bullies always come back. Soho shrugged. Not my problem. Now move. When Teiho stood his ground, Soho fired. The stun blast caught Teiho in the chest, dropping him to the floor. Teiho! Nari cried, moving toward him. Stop or the next one kills him, Soho warned, adjusting his weapon settings. Come with me quietly. Nari froze, her crystalline skin pulsing with anger. The Derek shuttle is docking now, Soho said. We're going to greet them. You've doomed this station, Nari said quietly. I've saved myself, Soho replied. Now move. As they left the power room, Nari glanced back at Teiho's unconscious form. For the first time since her people were hunted, she felt something beyond fear or sadness. She felt rage. The energy inside her core pulsed in response. The Derek would learn why some species were feared for good reason. Teiho woke to someone shaking his shoulder. His chest hurt where the stun blast had hit. He blinked, trying to focus on the face above him. Dr. Park. Wake up! It was Engineer Hyun, her young face worried. They took Nari. Teiho sat up too quickly, his head spinning. Who? Soho? Yes. He's taking her to the Derek shuttle. They've already boarded the station. Hyun helped him stand. Security Chief Miho let them in. Teiho steadied himself against the wall. We need to stop them. How? There are at least 20 Derek soldiers. We stick to the plan, Tejo said. If Nari can connect to the power core, she might generate enough energy to disable their weapons. They left the room cautiously, avoiding the main corridors where Derek troops patrolled. The station's emergency lights cast red shadows everywhere. The central power core is our best chance, Tejo explained as they crawl through a maintenance tunnel. It has more energy than the secondary core. But the Derek will have secured it by now, Hyun said. Maybe not. They're looking for Nari, not expecting us to go there. They reached the central power section to find it unguarded. The massive core hummed in the center of the room, its blue light pulsing steadily. Now we need to find Nari, Tejo said. As if summoned by his words, the door slid open. Soho pushed Nari inside, a gun at her back. 4 Derek's soldiers followed. Well, Soho said, seeing Tejo. The doctor recovers quickly. Don't do this, Soho, Tejo pleaded. It's already done. Soho gestured to the Derek soldiers. They're taking her now. The lead Derek stepped forward, a containment device in his hands. The specimen will be secured for transport. I have a better idea, Nari said. With surprising speed, she spun away from Soho and leaped toward the power core. Soho fired, but missed. The Derek soldiers raised their weapons. Stop, the lead Derek shouted. We need it alive. Nari reached the core interface panel. Her crystalline hands spread across the controls, beginning to glow as she made contact with the energy systems. I can interface with the station, Nari explained to Tejo, her voice strained. But I've never attempted something this large. Get her away from there, the Derek commander ordered. His soldiers moved forward, but stopped when the lights began to flicker. Nari's body glowed brighter as she drew power from the core. Tejo moved to her side while the Derek were distracted. Help me, she whispered. I can't control this much energy alone. Tejo hesitated only a moment before placing his hand over hers on the interface. Pain shot through his arm immediately. The energy coursing through Nari's crystalline form was far hotter than during their spacewalk. Let me help you, he whispered through clenched teeth. Something strange happened when their hands connected. The energy flowing through Nari seemed to find a new path, a circuit completed. Her eyes widened in surprise. The station's lights flickered wildly. Control panels sparked. The first wave of Derek soldiers fell back as electrical arcs danced across the floor. This is impossible, the Derek commander said, watching Nari's glow intensify. It shouldn't be able to channel this much power. Soho backed toward the door. What have you done? Nari didn't answer. Her entire body now shone like a small sun. The temperature in the room rose dramatically. The Derek soldiers retreated further, raising shields. Tejo, Nari's voice sounded distant, strained. Let go. I'm becoming unstable. He could feel it. The energy was building too quickly, threatening to overflow. His hand burned where it touched hers, the skin blackening. I'm not letting go, he insisted, even as his skin charred. If he broke the circuit now, the energy might explode outward. Engineer Hyun watched from behind a console. She saw Tejo's pain, saw the Derek preparing to attack again. She made a decision. Moving quickly, she crossed to Nari's other side. Without hesitation, she placed her hand on Nari's glowing shoulder. I'm with you, she said. The circuit expanded. The energy flow stabilized slightly. Nari gasped as some of the pressure eased. The Derek commander ordered his troops to fire. As they raised their weapons, the door slid open again. Medic Gina entered, saw the situation, and without a word joined the growing chain, placing her hand on Nari's arm. The specimen is receiving help, the Derek commander shouted. Stop them. But others were arriving now. Station crew members who had heard the commotion or seen the power fluctuations came to investigate. They saw their colleagues standing with the alien they had feared. One by one, they joined the chain. A security officer. A cook. A botanist. Each person who connected to Nari helped balance the massive energy flow. The glow spread through the human chain, not burning now but warming. "This is not possible," the Derek commander said, backing away. His soldiers looked to him uncertainly. The growing chain of humans created a living circuit, stabilizing the energy that Nari channeled. The station's systems came back online, but changed. The defense shields activated at triple strength. Security barriers dropped, trapping the Derek soldiers. Soho tried to escape but found the doors locked. He turned back to face Nari, fear replacing his confidence. "What are you?" he whispered. At the center of the human chain, Nari stood transformed. Her crystalline body contained a universe of light. Through her connection to these humans, she had become something new. Not a weapon, but a shield. "I am what they chose me to be," she answered. The Derek retreated quickly after their boarding party was captured. Their battlecruiser fled when 3 Federation ships arrived, responding to the emergency call Nari had sent through the boosted communication array. The station needed repairs, but no lives were lost. The Derek soldiers were held in the station's brig. Soho was there too, facing charges of treason. Commander Jisoo called Nari to her office the day after the attack. "You saved us all," she admitted, her formal tone softened. "I was wrong about you." "Many were," Nari replied simply. The news of what happened spread fast. Akira working with humans to defeat a Derek warship was big news. The Galactic Council sent representatives immediately. They arrived 3 days after the Derek retreat. 5 officials from different species filed into the station's conference room. The lead representative was a stern-looking human named Doyen, the council's security director. Nari sat calmly as they questioned her. Taeho sat beside her, his hands still wrapped in healing bandages. "The entity poses a clear danger," argued Council Security Director Doyen, reading from reports. "Her abilities could devastate entire planets." "She is not an entity," Taeho interrupted. "Her name is Nari. She's a person." Doyen frowned. "The reports indicate she channeled enough energy to power this entire station. That kind of power can't be left unchecked." Taeho stood, ignoring the pain in his hands. He activated the room's display screen, showing ancient records he had gathered. "The Kyra were peaceful energy farmers before they were hunted," he explained. "Their ability to absorb and redirect energy was for survival on their radiation-soaked homeworld." He showed images of crystal cities that once stood on the Kyra homeworld. Beautiful structures designed to channel energy safely. "They didn't build weapons," Taeho continued. "They built art." Doyen seemed unmoved. "Intentions can change. Power can corrupt." "Then you should hear from those who witnessed her power," Taeho suggested. One by one, station crew members entered to testify. First came Engineer Hyun, nervous but determined. "When the power surged during the Derek attack, it should have fried our systems," she explained. "Nari absorbed the excess. She saved my entire section." Medic Gina spoke next. "After the attack, we had wounded with irregular heartbeats from electrical shock. Nari helped stabilize them by regulating their electrical impulses. She saved lives in my medical bay." More testimonies followed. The cook who had feared Nari for months described how she had protected the food supplies from radiation damage. The security officer admitted he had been wrong to treat her as a threat. Last came Commander Jisoo herself. "I ordered this station to surrender a refugee under our protection," she said, her voice heavy with regret. "I was wrong. Nari is not a weapon or a monster. She's the reason we're alive." The council representatives talked privately for hours. Nari and Taeho waited outside the conference room. "Whatever they decide," Taeho said softly, "you won't face it alone." Nari's crystalline hand rested near his. "I never thought I would trust a human," she admitted. "My people have hidden from yours for generations." "How many Kyra are left?" Taeho asked. "More than I first told you," she said. We have hidden colonies. Small groups surviving in radiation belts where others can't follow. When the council called them back, Doyen's stern expression had softened slightly. The council has reached a decision, he announced. Based on the evidence and testimony, we grant protected status to Nari and all remaining Kyra. Murmurs of approval filled the room. Furthermore, Doyen continued, a human diplomatic team will help integrate the Kyra into galactic society. If they wish it. Nari's glow brightened with emotion. My people will be cautious. Trust comes slowly to those who have been hunted. Which is why Dr. Park will lead the diplomatic mission, Doyen said. If you agree. Tejo looked at Nari, then nodded. I would be honored. 2 weeks later, the station was fully repaired. New crew members arrived, treating Nari with curiosity rather than fear. The story of how humans and Akira stood together against the Derek had spread throughout the sector. That night, Tejo found Nari at the observation deck, watching distant stars. My transport leaves tomorrow, he said, joining her at the window. The coordinates your people sent lead to a small moon in the Cygnus sector. They are eager to meet the human who held Akira's hand, she replied. Though still nervous. As am I, Tejo admitted. What if they don't trust me? They will. In time. Nari turned to face him. My people called your kind the reckless ones, she said, her crystalline fingers carefully moving closer to his scarred ones. Now I understand why. Their hands met, his scarred skin against her cool crystal. No pain this time, just connection. Tejo smiled. Sometimes you need to be reckless enough to hold a star in your hand. As their ship departed the next day, word of their mission spread across the galaxy. The humans who stood with monsters became a symbol of change. In distant corners of space, other feared species watched cautiously. Perhaps humans could be trusted after all. Perhaps there was room in the galaxy for those who were different. The universe had called her a monster, but one human had dared to hold her hand. And that changed everything. The end.